Good morning, traders. I hope everybody has had a fantastic first week to the year. The markets are starting to kick off again. We're getting traders going back to work, and from Monday we should see the volatility increasing back to where it usually was. So now we need to have a look and see what are we going to be doing for next week, as well as the fact that today we have the non-farm payrolls coming out. But first, let's have a look at a few of the longer term setups that we're looking at on the pound dollar, the Aussie-New Zealand dollar, and the good old favorite euro dollar. Let's start off with the euro dollar. We can see here that we've had a very bullish market for a long time. This chart is on the daily. So all the way back here until now, we are looking at what's this, 260 days. That's a lot of days. We've had a solid bullish momentum. We did have some resistance at this point here. So I've put in the horizontal line across just to show that we're now hitting that point again. And this is going to become a little bit more important with the NFP coming out right now, because the NFP might affect the dollar very negatively and actually get it to shoot up past this point. And if we see it break, then we could be looking at another very long-term bullish trade. But I would hold off on it right now, purely because, you know, it is a Friday that's coming up. You don't want to hold a trade over the weekend, but with the NFP volatility, we might be able to get in and make enough of that where we could have a stop loss in profit before the trades close. So I've drawn in the vertical line here, just showing you that we have had this hit 3 times across. It did deviate away, so it's not the best ascending line that we're looking at, but it does give you a good feel for how the market is reacting. And the horizontal line is not from repeated resistance. It's purely because it hit a resistance point at this level here, and we can see it's hitting it again. So this line does look reasonably important to me, and I will be watching it to see what happens across here, and I strongly suggest you do too. With the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, we do have a bit of a channel that's running here. We can see that we've had the markets hit 3 times on this top channel here, and at the bottom here it's been fitting in perfectly into this equidistant channel. Now this will not be as affected by the NFP as the other ones, but just keep in mind that when the US dollar does something insane, it does ripple through the entire market, all of the currencies, even if you don't have US dollar in the pair that you're busy trading. But it won't be as significant as though it had the actual US dollar in it. So what we're looking at here with the Aussie New Zealand dollar is that we've seen that the currency pairs are on a bullish momentum. It has come off the bottom line or the bottom area recently, and it looks like it's going to be coming down again. So in this case, we're going to be waiting for a bounce off this line and then heading back up into the trading zone, and we should have quite a bit of movements there. Yeah, we've got well over 400 pips of place to play with. So that means that we could get quite a few trades within this channel if it keeps on trading up. Stochastic, we've set it to the 1033, which is the one that I typically trade with, and it was recently overbought. It's come back into normal territory, so this is kind of confirming that it should be coming down a little bit longer. And what we're doing here is looking for a bounce off this line. Now we've drawn in these lines on the daily. You can put it in on the 4-hour and trade within it here. But for now, with the markets being relatively slow and the new year and traders haven't really kicked in yet, I typically look at the daily so I can get a bigger picture and start figuring out what the trading regions are going to be for the week coming up. So put these lines in, and next week you'll see that we more than likely will be within these trading zones still, just with more volatility inside it, giving us more potential entries. Let's have a quick look at the pound dollar. Now the pound dollar, we have seen quite for a very long time, the pound dollar has been in a bullish momentum again. We have this ascending line here, and this one is actually quite good, folks. It's hits, well, we started off here, but we're looking at 4 times that it's come across, which is quite reasonable to look at. I know some people have also drawn in lines up across here, but you might want to avoid that purely because it's broken through, but let's do it anyway. So we can see that if we draw this, then we do have a triangle that's slightly squeezing. You could work it in and make it an equidistant channel, but I feel like that would be manipulating it a little bit too much. But with the way that it's set up here, we can see, yes, it has broken through and returned inside again. So I'm not going to put too much faith in this top line. I'm going to use it more as like an indicator or marker, or if it confirms something else. For example, if we are looking at this information and we decide to add a crossover system, if it's coming off this line, I can use it to confirm the crossover, but I will not use it as strong enough as a trigger, like as a reason to actually enter the trade. So go ahead and pop that in as well if you're just looking for more of a range to trade within, but keep in mind that that top line is not as strong as the bottom line is. So this currency pair, the pound dollar, will be affected by the NFP that's coming up in a couple hours. This video will be released before it happens, so I hope you get to watch it and then watch the NFP happening. And what could happen here is if the US dollar takes another hammering, then we will see it break through up this line here. If the US dollar actually strengthens, then we're going to see this market coming down, because, you know, that means that the pound is not doing as well. And then it's quite likely that it will stumble across on this bottom line here. So even if it does happen, how much room do we have? We're looking at 280 odd pips on a daily. That's not a huge amount. But there is still enough room to play with inside there. Just remember, if you do decide to trade off a short position, keep an eye on where this bottom line is, as it could be a stumbling block on the way down for any long-term trades. Gun to my head, I'd say this pair will continue in the bullish momentum. It doesn't really look like we've had any major turning points, so hopefully the upcoming NFP will confirm that for us. If the US dollar is taking another hammering, then yeah, then we'll see more long positions opening up on the pound US dollar.